Welcome to my PowerPoint about mana cheat. Of course, we start with Death Knight. So, Death Knight doesn't have that much mana cheat in it as a class, let's be honest here. It has cards like Reska the Pit Boss, Stitch Giant, Chain Guardian, and that's kind of it. There are a handful of other cards elsewhere, cards that discount other cards, but for self-mana cheat, it's definitely really only those. Of course, Death Knight's a lot newer. It's a slower playstyle-based class, similar to Paladin or Warrior or Hunter, so it's less likely to get a lot of mana cheat cards, and it is newer, so they don't really exist. Cards like Reska are very strong, though. It doesn't matter if you don't have very many cards that do it. Mana cheat is a strong effect. Reska is a 0 mana 6/3 with Rush that also has Death Rattle, take control of a random enemy minion. It doesn't matter that there are so few cards like this. This is still an incredibly overpowered card. Why? Yeah, I get it that Death Knight, needs a card like this, right? It needs to have a lot of push cards, especially because of the runes, but why print a card like this? Truly, why? Why do we need 0 mana 6/3s with Rush that also have Sylvanas Death Rattle on them? I don't know. This isn't even close to the most egregious thing that will show up on this video. I just wanted to talk about, mana cheat today. So, yeah, we're gonna talk about it. When you get to Demon Hunter, you start to really see the picture that gets painted by mana cheat in this game. You have cards like the Final Showdown, which will, for the first stage of the quest, it'll tick down the mana cost of 4 or more cards that you draw, and then you have the second stage of the quest, which alters it to 5 or more cards. That alone is actually very strong. There's a reason the quest got nerfed. There's the reason that a full discount list using cards like Walloper and Irebound Brute aren't even the only ways that you've been able to play the quest line. You could have played it with Blind Eye Sharpshooter before that was nerfed. It wasn't that great, but you could have. You used to play it with Il'gynoth as the best way to play Il'gynoth. It's almost like 1 mana to discount 9 cards by 1 mana is really fucking good. Demon Hunter also has cards like Wayward Sage. Wayward Sage gets itself discounted from cards like Illidari Studies. Then, it's effectively for a 0 mana 2/2 because it'll discount your left and right most cards in your hand. Obviously, you have to outcast it, but that's not that big of an issue, especially with cards like Illidari Studies. Wayward Sage has been great for, discounting your Blind Eye Sharpshooter turns, or being able to discount your hand off of Illidari Studies. Again, I know I keep mentioning it. As just discounts really strong, so any way to get, consistent discounts has been really good. Then Demon Hunter has, 2 really strong demons that have self-discounts in Vengeful Walloper and Irebound Brute. Both of these cards are good on their own, don't get me wrong, but the fact that they get discounted to 0, and then you have Philosophy, is part of the issue. If you don't know, Philosophy is a 1 mana spell that is copy a demon, or copy the lowest cost demon in your hand, outcast, give it +1/+1. So, when you have cards that discount themselves to cost 0, they're always going to be the lowest cost demons in your hand, and because they cost 0, the next copy will cost 0. You're now starting to understand the picture of why mana cheat is so strong. Guys, mana cheat, I spelled that wrong, and Druid is a bit awkward. While it does exist with cards like the 4 I've listed, Summer Flower Child, Lady Anacondra, Lifebinder's Gift, and Lunar Eclipse, Druid is all about ramping, which sort of negates the need for cheating. These cards and many other are quite strong for sure, but to call Druid a class that all about cheating mana is not necessarily true, unlike a few others. Psych! Druid is a rat bastard mana cheating class like a lot of the others. You have, you get to ramp. Yeah, you spend, so much mana on your cards and you ramp. Who the fuck cares? You play shit like Aviana and then all your minions cost 0. So, you play Aviana and Eonar, you have infinite fucking mana for 1 turn because you kill your opponent. And then you play Puppet Master Dorian. You can get Dorian off of Oaken Summons, and guess what? You also have infinite mana for 1 turn, but you also kill your opponent that turn, so it doesn't matter. Druid's a rat bastard class. It's hard to genuinely talk about, things like mana cheat in this game without just, shaking your head and being like, God damn, dude, what are they thinking? What the fuck are they thinking? And Druid's one of the most egregious examples. Druid does not spend, like, let me rephrase. Druid spends all of their mana on drawing cards, gaining armor, not really interacting with your board, and then just killing you. That's what Druid spends all their mana on. So they spend mana to get more mana, they spend mana to cheat more mana, and then they win the game. Real fun and interactive, actually, I think. If you played against Wild Druid in the last, I don't know, 2 years, you fucking want to blow your brains out playing against this shit class. Actually, if you played against Druid in general, because Druid's also been, like, completely oppressive in Standard for the last, like, 2 years. So, yeah. Then we have Hunter. Guys, I have to admit something. Hunter has mana cheat. I know. Calm down. It's okay. It's not very good. Hunter's mana cheat is awkward. A lot of it is very conditional based and just not that good overall. Like, yeah, you have cards that are individually quite strong, but there's nothing to use them with. Yeah. Like, yeah, you can play Cloaked Huntress and cheat infinite mana because your secrets always cost 0. You can only have a max of 5 secrets. Oh, yeah, an infinite mana. I mean, you're only cheating like 10 mana at most, and then, like, not even that much because of Dunbalder Bunker, which also discounts the secrets before you can play them. Whatever. Oh, dude, it's so much. It's infinite mana cheat. Oh, my God. Harpoon Gun actually went to discount by 3, and it was really good in Standard, and then they nerfed it and didn't revert it for some reason. So Wild just got fucked. I mean, we had like 1 month where Harpoon Gun would discount by 3, and it was really, really strong in Wild, and it never came back. Don't get me started on Parrot Sanctuary. It's better in Shaman, it's better in Priest than it is in Hunter. Yeah, oh boy, you can get your Agrimar out on turn 4 in Hunter. But that also means that you can't play any other battle cries to do something like that. It's not very good at all. I mean, don't get me wrong, Parrot Sanctuary is a strong card. It's just like, there's nothing to use it on that actually matters. We'll probably get something next expansion. I mean, you don't print a card like Parrot Sanctuary and then not give it some support. That's like even beyond Blizzard to do, to not give any good battle cries for this card for its entire time in Standard. Even Blizzard can never do that, because that would mean not printing a single good battle cry for the next 4 expansions, including mini sets, including neutral, including 2 other classes. So Parrot Sanctuary is going to break something down the line. Just, I mean, look at the card, but yeah. Hunter, I'm sorry, bros. I'm sorry, Hunter bros. Our class has mana cheat. I'm so sorry. But not less than 1. Yeah, okay, so Mage has really strong mana cheat cards, has a lot of different ones, and a lot of them have been nerfed. You know, you had cards like Sorcerer's Apprentice that went from 2 to 4, back to 2, but now it says not less than 1. Incanter's Flow went from 2 to 3 to 4. Mage has had a lot of ways that it's been really good at cheating mana over the years, but, I mean, most of them have been nerfed, right? Hot Streak, discounting Ignite for your Sanctum Chandler doesn't matter anymore because, you know, your Sorcerer's Apprentice can't be copied to make your Ignites cost 0, all this kind of stuff. Like, so Mage is, like, definitely balanced, right? All this mana cheat that Mage has doesn't matter anymore, right?
Portalmancer Skyla.
Yeah, Portalmancer Skyla was printed. What the fuck? I mean, everyone and their mother has talked about this card lately. It's the current, like, as of time recording, it's like the big news in Standard. It's like dominating the game. But like, genuinely, what the fuck were they thinking with this card? Like, an actual gigantic question mark. Like, what the fuck were they thinking? So they print Tsunami at 8 mana, and it summoned 3 3/6s, and it was unplayable. They buff it to 10 and 4 3/6s, and it was still unplayable. Then they print Portalmancer Skyla, make it a rogue tourist, and give you access to Metal Detector, and technically O Manager, but you don't want to be writing that card, and Seashill and Conniving Conman. So what you do is you play your Seashill or you play your Metal Detector on 3, then you play Portalmancer Skyla and a coin on turn 4, pretty consistently. It's usually turn 5 if you're going first, but when you're going second, it's pretty consistently turn 4. And then you play a 0 mana Tsunami, because it swapped the cost of the coin and the Tsunami. Oh, you might be saying, oh, no, it's not mana cheat, because you have a 10 mana coin. That means it's so bad.
Come on, man. Be so for real, man. Come on, man. Like, I'm being so for real right now. What the actual fuck, man? I'm so goddamn. I'm so. What the fuck? What the fuck?
I can't take it anymore, man. Like, what are they doing? How do they actually think anyone would ever be enjoying playing against this card? Is it fun to play with? Yeah, it's really fun to blow the fuck out of your opponent on turn 5 and they can't play the game. That's really fun to play, I will admit. Is it fun to play against? Hell no! Dude, this is like one of the least fun gameplay patterns that has ever existed in this card game. Potentially ever in any game. I'm gonna be so real. What the actual fuck, Blizzard? Genuinely. Then we have Paladin. So Paladin doesn't have that much mana cheat. Paladin typically relies on Nozdormu the Timeless to ramp, its slower decks, and it's pretty good. Being able to ramp in a class that's not Druid is genuinely quite good. A lot of the Paladin cheat is relatively defensive. You get to discount taunts or taunts with Divine Shield, through different ways. And yeah, you could play them in aggressive decks, but they're typically defensively oriented, right? Then you have a card like Prismatic Beam, which, same way. Yeah, it can discount all the way down to 1 mana from 8, but it's a removal card, right? It used to go face. That is if you just completely forgot Librams existed. Yeah, we used to have a 1 mana 1/3 that would discount basically all of your spells for the rest of the game, because you would only really be running Librams. Turns out, if you have infinite 0 mana spell that gives a minion +1/+1, infinitely, and you can keep doing that over and over again, even when your minions get removed, yeah, you can do some real fuck shit with that. You can give your animated broomstick rush, and then, rush off your minions, then give the broomstick some wisdoms and all this, and have like a lot of free stats to just trade very efficiently. You could also have Penflinger. Yeah, does everyone remember Penflinger? Yeah, the 1 mana 1/1. That's Battle Cry, deal 1 damage, Spell Burst, return to your hand. Of course, it was nerfed to only deal damage to a minion, and genuinely, that kind of killed Libram Paladin. Like, straight up, if that didn't exist, Libram Paladin would probably be quite okay. But that was like an actual game-killing nerf. But it's fine. Then you have cards, like Libram of Hope, that also benefit from being discounted. It goes from a 9 mana spell to about a 3 mana spell on average. Sometimes you can make it less, depending on, like, if you got some like RNG kind of stuff, or if you're able to copy, your Aldors or whatever, or stuff like that. But basically, for the rest of the game, all of the spells in your deck cost 6 less if you play every copy of your Aldors. Yeah, even for Paladin standards, that's not normal. That's not normal. Like, I get it, right? Mana cheat allows for some really fun games that you can play out, and it allows stuff like Librams to exist. And Librams are cool. People did like Librams. But holy goddamn shit, if they printed, like, any Libram that just dealt damage, everyone and their mother would have complained about it. Genuinely. It would have been, like, the most hated card ever.
Radiant Elemental.
Yes, of course. We nerfed Sorcerer's Apprentice twice. Radiant Elemental has never been nerfed. It's committed, I would say, more war crimes than Sorcerer's Apprentice. Yeah, if Sorcerer's Apprentice didn't get that first nerf to 4 mana, it probably would have committed more, but it kind of didn't really need the nerf that it got. You could have done a bunch of different things to Sorcerer's Apprentice, but it's fine. How has Radiant Elemental never been nerfed? How? Let's talk about it. Okay, so you are playing Buff Priest, Miracle Priest, Potion Priest, whatever you want to call it. Almost every single card in your deck that is a spell costs 2 or less mana. So, if you play a Radiant Elemental, all of the spells in your deck cost 1 or 0. You can also just play another Radiant Elemental, and then all of the cards in your deck cost 0. Every card. Every card. Oh, but you might be saying, but what about the minions? What about the minions? Okay, well, you run fucking Grave Horror, so after you play a bunch of spells that cost 0, the Grave Horror itself costs fucking 0. I hate Radiant Elemental. Like, I fucking hate this card. It's incredibly toxic. It's terribly designed. No card should have your spells cost 1 less. Without less than 1. It should not exist, ever. Ever, fucking ever. It's horrible game design. Your opponent should not be playing more cards in one turn than you're playing in one entire fucking game. I don't give a rat's fucking ass what deck they're playing. They should not be allowed to play more cards in one turn than you can play in an entire game. That's not, like, a fucking hot take. That's like a ice cold, like, fucking freezing take. But we live in a world where a card like Radiant Elemental never gets nerfed. Even though a card that has the exact same text, but a worse stat line and no tribe, doesn't get, or gets nerfed twice. Yup. Fucking yup, Blizzard. So I genuinely could have made like 40 different slides about Rogue. Like straight up, I could have made 40 slides about Rogue. I'm not joking. You could have done so many different like Rogue cards, Rogue decks, things that could be discounted. You could have like an hour-long video about Zeddy talking just about Shadow Step and in a mana cheat video, and it would have worked. Rogue has the most mana cheat in the game by a lot. Rogue has the cheapest cards in the game on average by a lot. And guess what? Rogue has the most bullshit. Not by a lot, actually. Rogue bullshit kind of comes and goes. A lot of decks have more significant bullshit. So let me paint you a picture. It's turn 1. You play your Treasure Distributor, and you hit Patches the Pirate and Parachute Brigand. You're so happy with your 1 mana 3/2, your 0 mana 3/2, and your 0 mana 2/1. Your opponent plays Twisting Pack, plays 2 Wild Pawn Knolls, and suddenly, your aggro deck lost on turn 1. Your aggro deck, that was designed to beat Miracle Rogue, loses on turn 1 because they could play Wild Pawn Knoll. Wild Pawn Knoll is a 5 mana minion that your opponent played on turn 1, and played 2 of them. This is a real scenario that happened fairly often, especially when you consider that your opponent could also have Breakdance or the Coin, and do the same thing. Maybe they didn't have 2 Knolls, but they could have done the same thing. Actually, it would have been better, because they could attack with the first Knoll, then Breakdance, then play the Knoll again. But, you know, whatever, I'm not gonna get into that. Yeah, so that's really fun, right? Your opponent just played a 5 mana minion, 2 5 mana minions on turn 1. It's really fun, right? Yeah, it's so fun. Yup. I can't fucking do this shit anymore. I can't fucking do this shit anymore, man. I can't fucking do it anymore. I'm fucking losing my mind. I'm losing my mind playing this game. But it's fine. That's also not talking about the billion other cards that, you know, Rogue has access to. They had Arcane Giants that could cost less for each spell they played, and because of cards like Preparation and Counterfeit Coin, you just had 0 mana ways to discount Arcane Giant. Again, not including the fact that you had Breakdance, which would again bounce the Giant back into your hand, and the Giant would still cost 0, so you'd have a 1 mana 8/8 with Rush because of Arcane Giants. What the fuck, man? I genuinely could do like 4 hours of just talking about mana cheat and Rogue, and still probably not really scratch the surface properly. So I'm just gonna move on. Then we have Shaman. So Shaman's definitely no slouch when it comes to mana cheating, guys. You can play Fairy Tale Forest on turn 3, then drop Muck Morpher, and then you can play Muck Morpher and hit something like the Thunderbringer. And then, wow, you just cheated a lot of mana. Oh, yeah, you have the Thunderbringer. Oh, yeah. And then you could get Neptulon. Oh, it's really good, right?
Scargill.
Dude, Scargill keeps me up at night. I love when my opponent plays Scargill on turn 4. They could then, like, coin into Clownfish, or if they had already played a previous Clownfish, the Scargill would cost 2, so you could play Scargill, then a 1-cost Clownfish, and, you know, your next 2 Murlocs will cost 0, because for some fucking reason, Clownfish's effect overrides Scargill's effect, so it costs 1 and then costs 2 less. That's not how that effect works for a lot of other cards, by the way. Oh, I didn't put the meme on the slide. 1 second. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, they have fucking Murloc Aviana, dude. Aviana for fucking Murlocs. Okay, well, that's so cool, because you also have cards like Gorlock Ravager, which were, you know, 1 mana to draw 3 Murlocs. And then you had Flurgle Tox, which is 2 mana to destroy your opponent's board. Okay, and then you also had Mutanus, which is 1 mana to eat a minion in your opponent's hand and then gain its stats. So you'd have a giant fuck you board that came out genuinely as early as turn 3 sometimes. I wish I was fucking joking. It did happen on turn 3 if your opponent was on the coin. And it was disgusting. It was disgusting. Like, and it lasted like this for like a month or two, by the way. And the craziest part is it wasn't meta until like around March of the Lich King. However, all of the cards that made up this combo existed in Sunken City. It's just no one thought to do it. No one thought, hey, maybe if I combine Scargill with a million Murlocs and the fact that it literally costs 0 because of Clownfish, I can do disgusting things. No one did it. No one did it. I don't know why. Like, it was so unbelievably broken. Like, Shutterwock Shaman was the best deck in the game when this existed. However, it's not because of Shutterwock. It's not because of Astalor. It's not because of literally anything else. It is specifically because of this Murloc combo. You could actually just not run Shutterwock, which was not that bad to do because it didn't matter. So, like, there were people that didn't own Shutterwock that played with every single other card in the deck and still won games. And still won a lot of their games because Shutterwock never matters in Shutterwock Shaman. And it especially didn't matter when you won the game on turns 3 or 4, consistently, because you would build a gigantic fuck you board that would just kill your opponent. And clear their board. And draw cards. And empty their hand. I hate mana cheat, dude. I hate it so much. Why can people play 100 cards in one turn? Why can't my game be like 2 or 3 cards max per turn? Like, especially expensive cards. Why can I play a 7 mana minion on turn 4 with other minions? Like, what? I skipped over Warlock. Oops. Yeah, I hit the button too hard. So Warlock is kind of just a pick your poison, right? Warlock has so many goddamn ways to mana cheat. Do you have infinite mana from just damaging yourself with Dark Glare? Is your hand full so you have like 1 cost of Netherons or Goldshire Knolls or really cheap Mountain Giants? Does your combo exclusively use Fel spells? Crescendo. So that Pop Guard just gives you infinite mana and like makes them cost 0? Or do you just want to summon a bunch of 9-cost demons for like 5 mana every single turn because the Skull of the Minari doesn't have a durability like effect like a lot of other cards? Warlock can cheat so much mana. It also has cards that cheat themselves, like Flesh Giant, which is a 10 mana 8/8 that says cost 1 less for each time your opponent's health or your health has changed on your turns. Or Molten Giant, 22 mana minion that says cost 1 less for each damage your hero has taken. So I mean, I think like I don't know if that's the exact wording of Molten Giant, but anyway, everyone that's played this game knows how Molten Giant works. If you go down to 8 health, when you have 30, it'll cost 0. If you have 40, if you go down to 18, it'll cost 0. It used to be 20, so it'd be 10 and 20 respectively. And it got nerfed because of Infernal, which is a 4 mana 6/6 that sets your health to 15, and Blood Treant, which is again actually a 5 mana minion, 5 mana 2/2, but it's free because it says cost health instead of mana, so it's actually a free minion. I hate mana cheat, dude. I hate it so much. Why? Like, how is Hunter ever supposed to keep up? How does Hunter keep up with these other classes? It just fucking doesn't. They just do more disgusting shit. They play more powerful cards. They play more cards. It's so stupid. Warlock is one of the most egregious examples. Like, I mean, Dark Glare. Can you believe that Dark Glare used to refresh 2 mana crystals on release? And then guess what? As a nerf, Blizzard decided, okay, let's make it 2 mana. It only discounts by 1, or only refreshes 1 crystal now, but it's 2 fucking mana. Oh, so if I just play it on turn 2 and then coin out, like, Cobalt Librarian and Core Guide and other shit, oh, so it actually is just better. And then guess what? They nerfed it to 3. And guess what card is still broken? Dark Glare. Even though it's been nerfed twice. That first nerf, you genuinely could argue is a buff. I'm going to be so real with you. It might genuinely be a overall buff. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. But Dark Glare has just given you infinite... Dark Glare probably has genuinely refreshed more mana crystals than, like, any other card in this entire game. I didn't even talk about Floop's Forbidden Gloop when I talked about Druid, because I, didn't want to, and didn't really need to get my point across. But, fuck, man, Dark Glare is just the most it's such a disgusting card. My wholesome warrior class does not cheat mana. It's too wholesome Reddit chungus to ever do anything evil like cheating mana. It's so cutie patootie, it would never do anything like that. No! My wholesome warrior class, no! Okay, so, yeah, warrior also has mana cheat, and it's actually pretty good, I'm gonna be honest. Light the Phoenix is really strong when you're playing skipper warriors because it's 0 mana draw too. It also includes your hero taking damage, so sometimes you don't want to press armor on turn 2 just to discount Light the Phoenix, or press hero power on turn 2 just to discount Light the Phoenix, even if you're not taking like that much damage. But the real winners are cards like From the Depths, which discounts 15 mana from the bottom of your deck. But if you play Finley, you get those instantly. And, you know, the Dredge card, which is really strong. It basically makes all of your Skipper Shell cost 0. You still want it, even if you have cards that cost more, because, well, if you're playing Odin or something, you want your Odin to cost 6. You don't want it to cost 9. Shield Shatter has been obscenely powerful for Warrior. It's 10 mana, to deal 5 damage to all minions, costs 1 less for each armor you have. So if you have 10 armor, it's 0 mana to deal 5 damage to all minions. When Frozen... So it also came out with a card, Frozen Buckler. 2 mana, gain 10 armor at the start of your turn, lose 5 armor. So yeah, Frozen Buckler is technically a little bit worse than a card like Shield Block, which is 2 mana, gain 5 armor, draw a card. But because it gives you that first initial 10 armor instead of 5, it made Shield Shatter cost 0. And then you have cards that are like To the Front, and like To the Front's not that good. It's kind of just like a really bad combo card that is funny, don't get me wrong, but it's just not that good. It can discount a lot of mana if you're playing something like Warsong Warrior, where you play like To the Front, then you play all your skipper cards. It'll make your Armorsmith cost 1 less, then it'll make your Warsong Commander cost 2 less, and it'll make your Frothing Berserker cost 2 less. So you can do some really funny stuff with that, but it's not that great overall, I'm gonna be honest. Even though on paper, To the Front should be disgusting. It's Warrior. Warrior can't really make you that much use of it. Ding, ding, ding. It's test time, guys. It's test time. So at the end of my video from Friday and Saturday, and I made a post about it, I'm going to be hosting a test at the end of my videos that come out on Sundays. These are going to be covering cards or things that I've said during my previous videos. This is very clearly an engagement bait, but you can participate if you like. If not, skip to the end, and I'm just gonna do my outro. It's not really that big of a deal. But if you want, you can have a lot of fun. So I'm gonna read off the questions. I'll give you about 15 seconds to like overall, because you can just pause it yourself, and then you can answer the questions. There will be answers on the next slide. Post down below how many you got right. Make sure to post if you got the bonus question right. But yeah, starting with number 1. What is the name of the odd Paladin hero power? The upgraded hero power that Paladin gets from either Baku or just Trueheart, that, you know, you press every turn and it gives you 2 1/1 silver round recruits. Number 2. What was the first card to benefit from spell damage outside of just dealing more damage? Number 3. What are the names of the Brewmasters from Classic? Number 4. How many holy spells are in Priest? And then number 5. Which card was banned to protect children? I made a meme about it. It's on this video, if you guys don't know. And then the bonus, who's the first lady of Juicy Couture? Alright, that's enough time. You probably should have paused the video anyway. Here are the answers. So the upgraded Paladin hero power is called the Silver Hand. The first card to ever be actually benefit from spell damage without being just damage is Unexpected Results. If you don't know, that is the now 3 mana mage spell from Boomsday that reads, summon 2 cost minions increased by spell damage. So it would be 3 or 4, etc. The 2 Brewmasters from Classic are Youthful Brewmaster, which is 2 mana 3/2, Battlecry, return a minion to your hand, and then, or I think it's friendly minion. Then Ancient Brewmaster, which is a 4 mana 5/4, Battlecry, return a friendly minion to your hand. There are 57 holy spells in Priest, and then Crimson Clergy was banned, yet Twisted Pack was not. What the fuck, Blizzard? And then lastly, Zeddy is the first lady of Juicy Couture. That's from that really bad Zeddy fancam video I made. It's so funny. But yeah, that's gonna be it from me. Yeah, I did not change the slide. Oops. My bad. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to change the slide. That's gonna be it for me. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm really trying to shake up the style that I do these videos in. I want it to be a little funnier because I will be honest, I don't like rewatching my own videos, mainly because I think that I could do better, and I am trying to do better. I'm trying to incorporate things more. If you like this more slightly higher energy kind of video, tell me down below. If you like the more informative style ones I was doing before that were a little more informative than this, I'd also like to hear that. Tell me what you scored on the test, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Also, make sure to subscribe. That'd be awesome. Bye.
Shadows are rising again!
Darker than they've ever